All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observation, and entertainment. Ask that you comment, like, share, and subscribe.
Well. Welcome, everybody. This is the DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. Coming to you live from the 571, where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. How's everybody doing tonight in YouTube land, in Facebook land, and in IG land? I'm about to get on TikTok, so y'all excuse me for a moment while I put up what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm waiting for my co-host to come on. Said the lovely Chocolate Pearl, my favorite girl, and Sweetest Snapple, Miss Apple. Let me show you the subject for tonight. Said this list is going viral. 10 reasons why Black women have the lowest marriage rates. You can come on and talk in the groups. Just want to make sure that y'all got what y'all need tonight as we get on and get along. So tonight I'm going to talk about a little bit. As y'all know, this weekend we're also going to cover what happened this weekend. We're going to talk about what happened this weekend, along with what's the consequences and how things are going to fall out. But this is how we're going to do it tonight. One of those things that I would like to talk about is, the marriage rates of Black men and Black women. Black men currently are about 90% of they're married about 28% out of all marriage age women, and Black men are about 35% of all marriage age men. So there's a disconnect. There's a war going on, gender war. I don't know why we're having a gender war, where the average woman doesn't think the average man is enough for everybody. But as you'll see, you can see one of the things that men are talking about. The number one, I don't know if you want to agree with that, but nasty attitudes and disposition. Where are these women at? They know I got a show. So let's go. Anybody else wanna get on? Just let me know. Okay, there's one of them right now. Let me let her in. What's going on, Pearl? Can you hear me? Pearl, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. It's one of my hosts, Chocolate Pearl, my favorite girl, sister with the same Mr. and Mrs. All the way live from Queensbridge. And there's Apple, who's Sweetest Snapple, coming all the way from the 718. She gonna keep it straight. Holla at your audience, Pearl.
Hey, y'all. Calling you from Duval. Why do I have an echo?
I have no idea why you have an echo. Or do you have something in the background that has noise?
No, it's quiet in here.
Okay, I have no idea what's going on, but we're gonna make it happen though. We're gonna make it happen. And what about you, Apple? How are you doing this evening?
Hi, everybody. This is Apple. Wait, I have
Right.
an echo too.
I don't know why, because all my stuff is off. I'm just talking straight through my camera. So if you have it on something else, like if you have it on live on something else, just mute that. You can hear it through Restream.
Yeah, I have nothing else.
I didn't hear an echo from you. I didn't hear an echo from you. After the
I
show,
hear so
give me a buzz
from her.
Holler at me after the show, okay? I got something
Okay.
for you. If you want to look at the screen before we talk about the events of this weekend, I would like to talk about this going on. What's on one that I sent that to y'all yesterday. These are reasons that people said that Black women have the lowest marriage rates. I was explaining the marriage rate, about 28% for Black women, 35% for Black men. And the number one reason is nasty attitudes and disposition. Pearl, you're going to get married. What makes you think that Black men think that Black women have nasty attitudes and dispositions? Pearl, can you hear me?
Okay, now I got you. I had to get to the mute button for some reason. It didn't want to work for me.
I was saying, why do Black men think that the majority of Black women have nasty attitudes and dispositions? As a woman that's about to be married, who has been married and about to be married again.
Believe it or not, I have not had an attitude with my new beau. I don't know. Him and I was talking about that, or I let him read what you sent us, and he agreed with everything on there, and I kind of like stuck my teeth at him. But it could be because of our upbringing of the society today, with a lot of us women having to be more like a man versus a woman. And so they have an attitude with not just the man, but the world, because they have to take on dual responsibilities when it comes to their life and family.
Okay. So what do you think is the cause of that? Are men leaving? Or women leaving men? Or are they breaking the homes?
It could be all three.
Going to the women.
You going to the where?
They going to the women.
He said,
You know what I mean?
he heard you. Yes. You always had a backhanded comment.
Hey, look, I'm gonna leave that one. I'm gonna leave that one alone. What goes on in your house stays in your house.
Oh.
Apple, same question to you. Why do you think Black men think that Black women have nasty attitudes and dispositions? And I want to welcome everybody in TikTok land. I just brought them on. It's myself, the DFG, the doctor is in, along with my co-host, the Chocolate Pearl, my favorite girl, and Apple Gold, who is always bold. Let's go. I'm back to you, Apple.
I think it's a stereotype that some men are conditioned really young that all Black women have attitudes and are hard to deal with. I think they take our strength as being, having an attitude. That's why we have that angry Black woman trope.
Yeah, but what do you think that comes from? Because
I think it's preconditioning from society. And I think it's also men are not taking accountability. They feel like what's good for the goose is not good for the gander.
In what way?
They think that women are so desperate to be married or in a relationship that we'll tolerate anything, and then the one time we stand up, we get the angry Black woman.
Okay,
Oh, you got a nasty attitude, or you want to be masculine. Things like that.
Okay, that's a way to look at it. That's a way to look at it. Now,
not saying that some Black women don't have attitudes and all of that, the things that you listed, but that's not mutually exclusive to Black women or women.
No.
And why is it wait, I'm sorry. I don't mean it because this is like a touchy subject for me. Why is it that when it's a Latina woman, she's considered spicy when she has the same traits? She's
Look,
considered spicy, but
look. I'm gonna be real. Someone in one of my Facebook groups put that there and said, and I said, you've never been in New York City. You've never been in New York City, because if you really think about it, in New York City, Black women, Latin women are the same. They're the same. You know, y'all run in the same circles. Y'all know the same people. You know, been friends forever. So naturally, everybody's going to have a similar attitude. So that Latin is spicy it's kind of, and I guess does it apply to all Latinas? Because if there's an Afro Latina, say from Panama or the Dominican or Puerto Rico, would they be considered spicy if they had a lot of African traits in them, or would they
no,
be
because
Latin?
it's always the Black women. I explained to one of my friends, she happens to be Puerto Rican, and she said growing up, she went to a school in Long Island City in New York, and she said the Black girls always had her problems, and that I had a problem with Black girls because they always had the attitude they start trouble, this, that, and the third. And I said, no, you're conditioned to believe that because
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
the Black woman is the most hated human being on earth. It doesn't matter if she's a Black American or Black, all across the diaspora. I know I said
Well,
that.
well, Black.
Diaspora. I'm sorry. I mean,
Right. Oh no, I got you. Um, in the diaspora anyway, you're going to get that because they understand what we're trying to do and what we're trying, and you see that anything that comes from the diaspora is not looked upon favorably, even though a lot of stuff came from there, and especially with foundational Black Americans, there are a lot of things that we're talking about. But the image of being loud, and this is my opinion. It's not based in fact. The opinion is, and especially with Black people in general, is that we're supposed to be docile and supposed to just take abuse. And when we do express ourselves, we become uppity, whether you're an angry Black woman, an angry Black man. Even if you don't raise your voice, you may still get the background of, you have to make yourself smaller, you have to make yourself less, less conspicuous around, and not get white people upset. And that's that was a learned behavior from the beginning. Because even though I'm a family genealogist, and we know our people were free since the beginning of the country. However, they were not considered citizens, and they had to walk around very carefully, or else they'll be grabbed up and become enslaved themselves. So, the act of us speaking out, we get told we're whining, we're be quiet, you should be glad, and that's that goes on both. But there are two stereotypes that are known about that are Black women that really don't have a basis in fact, but it's a basis in stereotypical behavior. You have the mammy. Usually the mammy is asexual, overweight, and loves her some white folks. And then you have the Sapphire Jezebel. the Sapphire Jezebel is over sexualized, like black women will hump anything that moves and stuff like that, and are very promiscuous, which on its face is untrue, but history has shown that when you're continually SA'd and you're continually taken over, you know, you get that look, and you get treated like that. Now, unfortunately, it's just my opinion and not any fact, and I'm just saying, just from what I understand, is that a lot of our intergender dynamics have been screwed up over the years because, you know, our parents, our parents' parents, our parents' parents' parents were raised in a lot harsher environment than we were. So we would do things, they discipline in the way almost as much as like what the slave master did back in the day. And the torturous stuff that we put ourselves through to try to conform and assimilate does affect, and I can understand why some black women would be considered having an attitude. Y'all remember them hot combs? You remember them hot combs on the stove?
Definitely.
But what does the hot comb have to do with your attitude?
How many times you got your scalp burned?
Not my scalp, but my ear.
Your ear, your scalp. And what did your mother, our mother, tell you to do, not to do?
Move.
Not to move.
Complain, right? And not to complain, right?
Right.
So
she didn't want us to complain because she didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. So y'all weren't able to voice your displeasure of getting your ear or scalp burned, or even your neck. So when you did speak back, that was sass, that was attitude. You see where I'm going with that?
I get you.
You see where I'm going at? Getting called out your name at a young age.
But why is it that when a black woman speaks up and takes up for herself, it's called aggression? But anyone
because
else,
then it goes back to the mammy. It's like black people, black women in particular, have been told to be docile and servile. So when you're talking about that, you're dealing with repressed anger over things that you may be not understanding, but what they've been finding, and the research has been finding, that trauma is passed down from generation to generation. That's why we are 6 generations from the Emancipation Proclamation. I'm talking about us, our generation, Gen X. We were still getting disciplined like our great grandparents were. So that's generational trauma, generational curses, generational inability to properly articulate your feelings, and articulating your feelings and getting those things out there to make your voice heard. So when you do speak up, and it's not in a servile or docile way, it's taken as aggression. It's just like, no matter how your age was back in the day, in our grandparents' day, they were taught to say, even if it was a boy or girl and you're a grown ass person, you had to call them Mr. or Miss. You got called your first name, but you had to call a child Mr. or Miss. So you can imagine that if someone came and stood up to that, they can find themselves being strange fruit later on that night for upsetting the natural, and I use natural in air quotes, the natural order of things. So with those things, it's a whole bunch of stuff that we've gone through over the years, and we have, and we're still trying to work it out. Because even when we decided we don't want anymore and we separated ourselves, those people came back to kind of sow division, because whenever we get together, things happen. Everybody, they're trying to find excuses not to vote for Vice President Harris. They're saying, well, she's not black. No, she is black. She's a black American. Now
She's
her
just as
parents
black
are
as
immigrants.
Obama was.
Exactly. Oh, black as us. So it's like,
No, the reason why I used him is because everybody said he was the first black president.
They said Bill Clinton was the first black president, but that goes beyond the point.
Yeah. But he was also biracial, but nobody took his blackness away from her. But because she's a woman and she's a black woman, they took her blackness away from her. And she never not to be,
See, and then they're attacking her. They're attacking her, saying she slept her way to the top. She put black men in jail. Now, and I say, so my response to that is, so.
But she was a lawyer.
I would rather have
she was a prosecutor,
a felon,
Right.
a person who essayed and a PDF file in a position that was unqualified to get the position in the first place.
right?
To go over somebody who's actually worked in government for years and understands government and will do more for the general public than the person that she plans on running against. So where are we? Why? So yes, there is an attitude, because if she was to speak frankly, what do you think she'd be called?
Aggressive,
angry,
hostile, angry black woman, right?
They ain't gonna say she an angry.
And that's when she'll become a black person, a black woman, because she gets because the way if she speaks aggressively.
About Tommy Chong's daughter. She was an actress. I think she passed away a couple of years ago. I'm not 100% sure, but she would say, "Well, I'm this, I'm that," and she said, "No, go to the Kennedys and you'll see how black you are." That is so true. But when you speak up for yourself, if you're a guy, you're that uppity Negro. You don't know your place, and if you're a woman, even if you're speaking to correct an egregious wrong, you're considered
aggressive,
angry. But I'm thinking in this way, we're looking at why are we angry, and with dealing with the average black guy, said, I don't need no man. I don't care. A man can't do nothing for me. I don't need a man. I want a man. So guys take that as like, okay, and then they back off, and it's like, what are you doing? All men ain't this and all men ain't that. A lot of people take their personal experiences and extrapolate it across a whole gender.
True.
But that goes both ways.
I've been accused of that. And I have done that sometimes in the past. I've generalized to a point where it was not supposed to be real. Where I was obviously wrong. However, that does not mean that we didn't, that I didn't say anything. But in that case, but you understand where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah, but it goes both ways. If you think about it.
Anybody?
Can you hear me?
So let's move to number 2.
Can you hear us?
Uncooperative and can't follow leadership.
Nope, he can't hear us.
This is an interesting one in that, Pearl, give me your definition of leadership. Hello, are you there?
I think you're having problems with the sound. Can you hear me?
Can you hear us? Hello?
Okay. Got a little technical difficulties out there in YouTube land, Facebook land, and Instagram land. I'm going to drop them and bring them back up. I took it down and brought you guys back up. Can you hear me? Can I hear you now?
Can you hear me? Testing.
Okay. I saw your mic move, Pearl, but it did not. I couldn't hear anything.
Can you hear me?
Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can try something else.
Well, the good news is it's no more echoes.
Try it one more time, because Apple, I can't hear you either.
Hello, testing.
Can everybody in TikTok land, could you put a thumbs up if you can hear me or not?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Anybody? So going back to that, we got uncooperative. I don't know if it's uncooperative per se, but I do think that it's positioned in a way that it's hard to cooperate when you don't know where the person's going. You can't find them, so you don't know where they're going. And that could be the biggest issue of what's going on with that. We're going to try something a little different here. I'm going to doing a joint call, see if they can hear me on that on the phone, and then we can continue going down that road. I said, just let me know if you want to come up. If you want to come up on in TikTok land, if you want to come up, just let me know. Okay, who do I have on the phone? Okay. I can hear you on the phone. Let me see if I can. Calling Chocolate Pearl. But a lot of times when you say you can't follow leadership.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message.
Can you hear me, Pearl?
Yes.
Okay. Let me bring in Apple. Hold on. When there's a will, there's a way. You know. Hey, we got a show to run. All right, I got y'all. I got both of y'all on the phone. So we'll make it go like that. Let me so it won't be fumbling. Can y'all hear me again?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Now, I was asking you, Pearl, what is your definition of leadership?
Oh, okay. Someone who can lead, of course, but someone that can maintain a group of people and direct them to get the job done.
Okay. And what about you, Apple?
Basically the same thing. Someone who can guide you towards a common goal.
Okay.
Whether it's work or family, it's a common goal, and you're able to guide each other.
Okay. And that's, there are the definition that I'm used to hearing. The common definition is being able to influence others to get a mission completed. And actually, and what I like to break it down and even say that is to do something, get people to do something that they necessarily may not want to do, but they do it willingly. That is the essence of leadership. So in order to be a leader, you have to understand and you have to follow. So you don't have to be blindly following. It's okay to question, but in the end, if everybody's going in the same direction, there can only be one in the front. So that's whoever y'all have. And a lot of times black women get the bad saying that they're uncooperative and can't follow leadership. I don't say can't follow leadership because I know plenty of black women leaders in I know plenty of black women leaders in business, in government, in life. So that's not the fact that they can't lead and do good jobs because I'd be lying. What I think is that a lot of times it goes back to number one, and which I was talking about the masculinity. A lot of women are so used to being in their masculine when they actually meet a leader, it looks like a controller vice a facilitator / leader. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. However, it's still making it sound like a woman needs a dominant man to control.
No, I didn't say, and that's, I understand what you're saying, but that's not what I said. I was saying that there can only be one leader. However, and whoever, and I was saying that you have to be able to follow in order to lead. A lot of times, people don't want to listen to other people's point of view, and they don't think that what you have to say is important or matters to them or getting them in a certain position. So when we say that, when we say things like that, we kind of reduce people to elements of, well, she just hard headed. She ain't listening to me. And she's like, what the hell's wrong with dude? He trying to control me. But if you're a team and you're in tandem, then things work. You work together. You make decisions together. Now, if the man's the head, he'll make the final decision, but he's not going to make a decision. A smart man is not going to make a decision without advice, without bouncing it off somebody. Sometimes you have to make a unilateral decision, but most decisions men make said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think?" And then, y'all talk about it. That's the key. You got to talk about it. A lot of times, men get the idea that women want to do their own thing, but they don't want to follow their lead. I look at Dabs. I look at Dabs, for example, and he's not. Is he controlling you?
No, not at all.
But you're following him.
He's my big teddy bear.
But you're following him, right?
Yes, I am. And it is also a way that you communicate, like you said, communicate with each other in a respectful way. And that way, he can stay that leader, and I can be his, like I said, helpmate. I can be his backbone. I can be, as Fantasia was said, I can be his neck while he is leading me with his head. But
yeah.
I am directing him into a certain way. Support.
So that's the thing is that support means to help. And how can you help? How can you be a helpmeet? And I'm not talking about you in particular. I know you. It's like, how can you say that you want to lead if you're challenging everything that person does when they're trying to get you to a certain place? That's
right, exactly. Actually, I understand what you're saying on that aspect.
That's
we do tend to want to say we want to be the leader or be just somewhat submissive in that aspect, but we tend to not allow the full reign. We still holding on to those ropes.
Yes, and that's
and you also said that you don't want to follow blindly.
Right.
That could be a mistake. You want to have faith in the person that you chose to be.
Right.
And you don't so without any common sense.
Right. And
if a 15-year-old man tell me he's an aspiring rapper and that's what I'm going to hinge my livelihood on, I'm not following that man.
Yeah, too bad we got too many 34-year-old struggle rappers.
But if I don't, I'm uncooperative. I have an attitude. I'm not supportive.
Right, but there's
have to be realistic.
Right, and that's
I want you to lead me off a damn building.
Yes, I understand that, and that's why it's important when you're looking into someone that you want to be a mate, you're attracted to them, you like them. You get somebody outside of yourself to look at them and look at them holistically and look at and observe them around you and around others, and then that person can give you it's going to be a little biased anyway, but it's going to be something that that they may see that you can't see because you're too close to the situation. That's what used to happen back in the days. You couldn't, with courting, a dude just couldn't come pick up the woman. The dude had to go in and talk to the dad, talk to the parents, talk to a brother, somebody. And sometimes guys would say stupid things, but the idea was we need to see you. We need to observe you because we want to make sure that this person is, one, who they say they are, and two, if they're going to do my daughter wrong or they're going to do my son wrong, because it goes both ways.
Right.
He said it goes both ways because you want to make sure you're setting your offspring off for success. And that's the key. And I might not get along with the person, but if I know they're good for my child, hey, I can bite my tongue for a little bit. Oh, hold on a second, ladies. I have Lindsay VT, whole bunch of numbers, 9999 on TikTok land. How you doing, Miss Lindsay? Holla at your boy.
Hey, from Vermont. How are you?
I am well. Tonight's broadcast is on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. We're talking this list you see the pictures of, and I have two lovely women that are my co-hosts, Chocolate Pearl and Apple, and we're on number 2. What do you think about what is your definition of leadership, Miss Lindsay?
I am just tuning in. You invited me. We're mutuals.
Yes.
So in regards to what?
Just leadership in relationships. What do you? Oh,
in relationships.
Right. What is it to be a leader in general, and then what does it mean to be in a relationship, to lead in a relationship?
Well, in my experience, the best relationships are when both people come together and there isn't a leader. You work on things together and you communicate and compromise.
Well,
those are the best relationships.
Right, but I mean, decision making, decisions by committee usually fail. However,
you still need someone to be a director.
Yeah.
Of those decisions of who's going to come up with that decision.
And
if you do equal, okay, today you came up with an idea, let's make that happen. And tomorrow I come up with an idea and let's make that happen. But you both there has to be someone to follow who is the support of
Right.
that leader.
And that's where, you know, we talk about independent, codependent, and interdependent. I'm not the best in everything. I need that voice in my ear sometimes telling me, hey, you might not want to do that. Now, I got to run something by some people sometimes because I don't know everything. And I understand what you're saying, Miss Lindsay, as far as working together. And we can all agree that working together works best, because if you're not growing together, guess what you're growing? You're growing apart. And that, so the idea is that with if you can't lead if you can't follow. And you can always be a great follower, but that doesn't make you a great leader. But you can be a second in command, or you can be an advisor, a trusted advisor, to where your partner, your significant other, understands you and knows you enough to be able to cut through all the noise and to figure out exactly what you want. Those type of relationships I see work well, because a lot of times we don't know everybody, we don't know each other, so we're just busy doing our own thing, and the next thing you know that somebody's doing something you don't like, and you're talking about why you treat me this bad, why you treat me so bad, like the Club Nouveau song. Too masculine while lacking femininity. I know this is a touchy subject for women in America, and like we were talking about earlier, how we were looking at things and looking at how we got these situations where everybody has to be something that they're not. Now, a lot of women take on masculine traits because they have to. And I'm not going to say it is all a man's fault, but also it comes from a lack of number two, not knowing the leader, not knowing where we're going. If you don't know where we're going, I'm going to take over and make you know where we're going. And then the guy that you're with be like, nah, this is my show. Then you say, but you ain't going nowhere. You're not going nowhere at the speed that I want you to, or doing this. And that's kind of where, you know, for the lack of a better term, bumping heads and battling each other to be the leader. And then what usually happens during that time? We go hither and yon and we don't get to where we're going. We're somewhere else, and then wondering how we got there. We about a year ago on the other podcast I did, I said, what exactly is femininity? And I gave general feminine traits. It's hard for a woman to nurture someone when they're not giving the space to be nurturing. You know, a lot of times, and I'm gonna call out men on this. A lot of times we want to do what we want to do, and we just want to support and buy it. And then when you back up, like you said, you get the angry woman trope, but you have a lot of women out there. It's like, I's the pappy and the mammy. But meanwhile, you ran off old dude because you didn't think old dude was man enough to handle you. Why do either one of y'all? Why do women? Yeah, why do women want to be handled like luggage?
It could be because of a lot of us grew up without a father. And they see how their mothers are being handled.
Okay.
And so they think that that's the norm, or they feel the excitement of being handled by a man. But sometimes being handled by a man gets out of hand. Because there's some men who actually like, for a woman to handle them.
Yeah.
Actually, like me personally, I don't like to be handled. I like to be respected.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that.
And my wants and needs to be considered.
Yes.
I don't think. And if I voice like an objection, I don't want to be automatically shut down.
Right.
As being angry and difficult because I don't unnecessarily believe in what you are trying to, convince me of.
Right.
I don't, and we were, us personally, we were fortunate enough to grow up with our father. He died when we were young, but, for the most part, we got to see it.
Right, he died when we were teenagers, so we almost was, reaching that adulthood, right, when he passed. So we were blessed that our father was a supportive father and in our lives continuously. But however, if you realize that there are a lot of women out there who feel that they want to be loved, so they have to be handled in order to be loved, because they feel that men is supposed to be the dominant person, and that's how they are able to be dominant. But it's not necessarily true, because there are some men who are dominant, and a woman loves that, but they just dominant in being forceful, but not necessarily dominant in being a protector or being a supporter or being a lover. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's put it in.
Or provider. Oh yeah, or provider. I was trying to keep that out of there, but unfortunately.
Well, provision. But you gotta understand, provision is not always about money. You have to. You provide an environment. You provide security. You provide stability.
As far as me, I'm a black woman. And I might be, it may come off that I'm trying to be masculine, but I can't show my femininity if I don't feel secure and safe in my space.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Together, and I'm always the one making all the decisions, correcting all of your mistakes, building a foundation, and I have, a homosexual.
Said, Miss Lindsay, do you know what a homosexual is?
I am aware, yes.
Okay. So what do you?
How can I rebel in my femininity when I have to be the strength? I have to be the backbone. I have to be the decision maker. I have to be the provider of security. I have to do all of that. And it's considered masculine, but how can I be anything else when I don't have a partner that offsets that?
Well, that's you have a point. You definitely have a point. The big thing about that, and I agree with you. I agree with you, but a lot of times we expect more out of people than what they can provide, and a lot of times we're blinded by emotion and love, and that doesn't have anything to do with gender. That just people are going to people.
Right, and women have this tendency. Now I'm seeing a lot more men like this, but women have the tendency that they don't want to be alone, so they tolerate certain things, even though they feel that they can still be handled or want to be handled, because they feel that that's how they're going to get love. But they still doing the same things that Apple had just mentioned, of how she has to be the one who is supportive. She has to be the one that's standing strong. She has to be the one that does everything. But at the end of the day, she's still considered man. She's still considered aggressive. She's still considered, mean, or have an attitude constantly. If you think about it, why not? stated what I stated, why is a problem for us to be mad at any point?
No, and that's the thing is that with a lot of men get with women expecting that they won't change, and women get with men expecting that they will. And,
right.
And so we're looking past each other. So I look at Apple and be like, why you running that man into the ground? Where Apple sees it as, this man really doesn't have any leadership, so I got to step up and be that person that I expect him to be. Two different perspectives, but we're seeing, but we understand each other. But a lot of times we all keep quiet until we blow up.
Until it's too late, right?
Until we blow up. Until
it's exhausting. It's exhausting. You hear me?
Yes.
My last relationship was like that, and that's why now I choose to be single until I find that twin flame, until I find someone that can offset, and I can be the girl for once in a relationship.
Well, you're probably gonna have to extricate yourself from New York City. Because I'm gonna say it like this, for the most part, and being from New York and living there in the city, growing up, the pickings is slims on both sides. The pickings, and it doesn't matter ethnicity, doesn't matter race, whatever. New York is a whole world into itself. So if you want somebody, because you understand, you already know, Apple, when people leave New York and they move out the city, it's like they see a whole different world, and they go up to like places.
Sing that song, a whole new world.
Yeah, because like Miss Lindsay, she lives in Vermont. You move from the city to Vermont, it's like night and day. So you live near Whiteface, Miss Lindsay?
Not really, but kind of. But I read the headline, like, I feel bad for joining because you're asking Black people and I'm white. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want to
but that's okay. I wouldn't have invited you on if I didn't want your opinion, because I try to avoid echo chambers.
Okay. Well, no, and I'm on like your side. Like, I acknowledge what they were saying about there are stereotypes towards Black women that I can't address racism because I don't face it. So,
and that's
my
understandable.
answers to these questions aren't going to be the same.
And I wouldn't expect them to be, but what it does, it gives us context from somebody outside looking in. That's kind of why I brought you up to is what you're hearing, is it anything that you're hearing that's like something that you've experienced as far as masculinity? Somebody ever call you a masculine woman?
No, not really. But like, I do a lot of sports and stuff, but not really masculine. But like, I found in a lot of relationships, I end up paying for a lot. And that's why, like, I'm so for equality, because it would be nice to have a relationship where I'm not, like, paying for a lot of stuff, and they're like, oh,
And that's,
are you going to get this?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that we don't have a lot of time to where we find the people that are, wanting to do what we want them to do. If someone's not paying, if you're paying all the time, and you've addressed it and it hasn't been filled, you probably need to move on, because.
Oh, I did.
Okay, I was about to say, because that dude sounds like a H to the B-O, H to the Izzo, B to the Izzo.
Let me say this one thing. Even though we are speaking about Black women, what I stated has to do with any type of woman.
Exactly, I agree.
Because nowadays, even though, as Apple stated earlier, you probably didn't hear it, that Black women are the most hated
No, I acknowledge that.
No, I was talking to Lindsay.
Okay.
However, a lot of women in general are still facing a lot of stuff that Black women are facing now. I've seen so many of different ethnic backgrounds that dealing with the same drama that Black women are dealing with. It's just they're starting to learn it or start to indulge into it more because a lot of us Black women are not standing up for the bull. We just decided we're not going to take it anymore.
At the same time, they're not getting called aggressive or ghetto.
Right, they're not.
That's something
Right.
that you can be a PhD, and as soon as you raise your voice in the slightest as a Black woman, you get called ghetto.
And that's kind of why I tied it into the presidential candidate, Ms. Harris.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what I was talking about. It wasn't necessarily saying that we were. I already addressed that. That what we are being taught. However, there is still the leadership in relationships, and I think that's going across the board now in today's society. Before it wasn't like that, but now it is, where there are more men who are backing up and taking more onto the feminine role, and women of all generations are going forward to be more aggressive and more masculine.
Is that even attractive to women?
No, it's not. It's not. Like, okay, I'm going to use Dab. I'm always using him as an example, especially nowadays. I call him, my teddy bear. However, with him, he is very, soft-spoken. Sometimes he can be a little loud, but there are times where most of the time he's soft-spoken, he's reasonable, and he looks at things and he thinks before he acts. But do I stand down because he's a big man? Do I stand down because he's a man? No, I stand down and I I'm considering it staying in my role and letting him be the leader because he respects me, he communicates with me, and I trust that he will be my 100% protector, 100% supporter. Those are the type of characteristics we need to look at when it comes to relationship and leadership. I can allow him to be that leader, right, while I step back and be the supporter.
And that's how it should be, but a lot of times it doesn't happen that way because sometimes, and I can say this, I know y'all. I said the people y'all picked when we were younger were people that probably weren't the best for you.
Representing a hoodlum and not the supporter and the protector that we needed. Of course, we had to go through the ringer to find out Jim. Fortunately, Apple has not found her gem yet, and I have.
And you're good. And like I said, like I said before, it was one of those things that you have to look at. And I looked at most of your boyfriends / husbands, and I gave y'all my opinion. And sometimes you took it, sometimes you didn't. But
can I just tell Eartha Reborn that I absolutely love her?
Oh yeah. Oh, Eartha, come on now, holla at your boy.
I said, where was you when I was doing the picking and the choosing?
But a lot of times, and this is women. This is not. It has no race, no ethnicity. A lot of times, y'all go to the tingles, and Lindsay's giving you some flowers. She said you're one of her favorite people.
I love you too, Lindsay.
Said this is Eartha Reborn on TikTok. She's a mutual of mine. Apple and Chocolate Pearl. Those are my co-hosts for my Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. I mean IG Live, IG, and they're not only my co-hosts, they're my sisters. So, So that's why if you hear us just talking, you might be surprised, but understanding that we have that relationship where we're transparent with each other, and we and that's why, and that's kind of why I understand why when I speak, I try to bring facts. Well, you already know that's my catchphrase that's my tag, the fact bringer.
I call him when it's just I need some facts, quick, fast, and in a hurry.
I do that. I do that. But we were talking about, and it all kind of relates. We were talking about the list. There was a list that's out that reasons why Black women were the lowest, would have married the least, and we didn't even get that far. We only got down to 3. But we also.
Well, I want to say this before we go, and I know our time is going out, dwindling down. However, I wanted to say this when it comes down to for Black women be the least ones to marry. Nowadays in society, we don't accept a lot of stuff that we used to. We used to tolerate so much. Now we refuse to tolerate just anything, and then we have a standard that we're trying to stick to. So
I always have friends that they always want to refer to their parents or their grandparents' marriages and everything. And this is I got blocked. I don't care. I got blocked because I'm like, well, you do understand that, yeah, your parents stayed together, but the kids around the corner look just like y'all.
Hey, Eartha, you hit a little bit too close to home. No. We ain't. I mean, no. We know what you're talking about because we lived it. So it's not a. But no, it's not a. It wasn't as bad as you. It wasn't as bad as you think. For lack of a better term, my father was polyamorous.
Okay.
Before we knew what it was.
Yeah, that's why I said he was the first one to have sister wives.
Yeah. So.
No, he wasn't. I know a lot of people like that. Hell, I was almost like that. But anywho.
But no, I mean, we understand that's what I'm saying. We understand what you're saying.
And a lot of the times they don't realize that the woman only stayed because she had to. I mean, you have to think the early 50s
and that's
and
the only thing that they knew.
They stayed because it was like the husband was the breadwinner.
Yes.
A lot of time.
Yes.
And that's the only thing that they knew, that the man who was there, who actually had the job, and you didn't have a job, that you couldn't go nowhere because you didn't have anything.
Or they don't say, y'all just go to that man.
They're not sticking. Say that again?
And then it's the thing where there was a lot of older women that have been conditioned to that same type of treatment from a man. So their thing is we're just going to let a man be a man. No, I don't think so. No.
But that's what that's what happens. And then on the other side, and this is, and like I said, this has nothing to do with race, and that's why I said, Lindsay, it's not. I know we were talking about Black women, but we're talking about people. We talk about people, and sometimes these people just happen to be Black. But
I was invited, Eartha. I didn't just join.
No, I invited her on, but.
No, can I say one thing though?
Go ahead.
I'm in my 40s. I've never been married, but since my 20s, I've always supported myself. That's why, I think it's dangerous if you get in a relationship where you financially would depend on a man. You've always got to have something you can do to earn a living. That's
how my mother raised me. That's how my mom raised me. And it actually backfired because I'm not going to say I was too independent, but I was too self-sufficient to the point where I became the person that was, I was everybody's crutch.
Yeah, so you became the man you wanted.
Yes.
And that's what happens a lot of times when you're so used to doing, when somebody does come in and provide leadership and offer leadership, it looks like consternation and control.
You don't know how to accept it, right?
Exactly. And that's where I was Apple. That's what I was talking about. Handle, because women be talking about I need a man that can handle me, and I'm like, what exactly does that mean?
I hate that term.
So does that mean I have to have a whip in a chair, like Simba? wear my big hat and be in the middle of a ring so you can be happy? Nah. If I got to everybody should put in work because relationships are a job, and if you don't show up, you don't get paid.
I have retired. To my ex-husband, I used to say that to him all the time. Just because we married and we've been together for a long time, we still have to work. It's like a job. You have to clock in and clock out. There's some times that you can't clock out. You got to keep continuously working overtime for a relationship, especially when the kids are gone and you're empty nesters. That's when you really got to put double time in. People don't understand that any relationship that you get into, once you start it, the way you start it, you will have to continue it that way. Once you start slacking, just like a job, you get written up. You get some jobs you get 3 times and you're out. You know what I'm saying? So you have to continuously work in a relationship.
I've never been married, but I was in one relationship that was 17 years. And then I just ended one that was almost 10 years. And that's one thing that I noticed. It's like you did all these things to get me, but you're not doing any of it to keep me.
And that goes both ways. But that's why I say it's like a job. It's not, it's not a job in the sense of, like you said, you clock in, you do your time, and you go home. There's a lot of duties and responsibilities that need to be fulfilled in order to keep the relationship going. You made a contract.
I think, like what Eartha was saying, it's just small things like, oh, Eartha, you worked a long day. Let me cook you dinner. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like a big thing.
Right.
It's just acknowledging and appreciating.
Right. And that's the thing. That's one thing that we as people, especially today in these days, we are not appreciative of people doing things for us. And I said people, because we used to have chivalry, we used to have seduction, we used to have sharing. Those 3 things.
What is chivalry? Because they don't know that this time of year.
That's why I said we used to. That's what we used to. But
I'm an old school. I love old school music, and that music I was brought up on, and I noticed how it changed from talking about being, romantic and, as you said, chivalrous.
And love, right?
So now it's just wham bam, don't come, block me, that sort of thing.
And that's what I said. That's why I said we have lost that, and that's Gen X's watch. It happened on our watch. We got to hold that L and hold it hard, because if you didn't instill it within your kids, who are probably Gen Zs, guess what happens? They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and then you become the boomers. So why don't these kids do this? Because we didn't instill it in all of the children. Your kids might be great kids, but your next door neighbor kids might be hellions.
Absolutely.
So it's on us. We got tired of being beat down by the boomers, because we all got, if you're ex or you have a story about your boomer parents doing some foul things, and I don't mean like illegal, but hell, extension cord. Should I say extension cords, matchbox tracks, jump ropes?
My mother made sure each one of us kids took wood shop 1 year, and we all had to make a paddle.
Well, Dad just said cans of beans.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Did you just say cans of beans? He said, yeah, cans of beans being blown past your head.
Oh yeah. And, but that's what I'm saying. So we as Gen X swung the pendulum the other way, to where we still disciplined our children, but we was like, in my opinion, we were a little bit too light, because we didn't want them to go through. And now we calling them soft. Hell yeah, you're going to be soft, because it's softened compared to what we went through, because we made the conscious decision to not do that. But then we see the results and we're like, yeah, I probably should have laid hands on my child a little bit more.
You know what? I have two generational children. I have one millennial child. I had a baby young. And I have one Gen Z child. And I see the differences in between them. And it's like, I mean, personally, I don't have a problem with it. But sometimes I think maybe, or at least, I don't know, he can probably, my son is very gentle. Sometimes too gentle.
No, and that's understandable, because we try to teach our sons to be gentlemen.
Yes.
But a lot of us didn't teach our kids conflict resolution. We didn't teach our kids, like I said earlier, chivalry. We didn't teach our kids the art of seduction. We didn't teach our kids how to talk to the opposite sex, what to say and what not to say. We didn't teach them all of that, because we put Barney in front of them. we put Barney and Teletubbies and said, "You teach."
You notice we put them in front of the TV. Now these new parents have put them in front of the computer.
Yeah.
Tablets.
Mm-hmm. So like I said, we gotta hold the L for our point in how Gen Z turned out, because they're our kids, and in some cases, if you were fast in the pants, grandkids. Ooh, let me stop. Let me stop. But I wanna.
Can I give an example of bad parenting?
Go ahead.
So I work in a ski resort where like really rich people go with their kids. We had a couple that came in. They didn't know their kid was allergic to peanuts because the nanny wasn't there. Oh, talk about bad parenting.
Well, that's yes, it is bad parenting if you don't know your kids.
And they're so rude. Like, it's just like, there's nice families, and I'm always like, oh my God, your kids are so well behaved. Good on you. Like, I make a point. But some people just, they have no boundaries, they're just like wild, it's crazy.
Listen, I live in Chicago, and I've always been a very involved parent with the school, with their activities and everything. And some of the things that I have seen parents do, it's like when you hear the things that their children have done, it's like, oh, well, then that makes sense. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't teach anybody what you don't know. So, I mean, like you said, yeah, Gen X, we kind of dropped the ball with a lot of these children, and then it's like we're frustrated because they're out here, like I think they have a curfew downtown here now because the kids were just running wild. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of kids just running wild downtown, shooting each other, jumping on people. But it's like, well, start arresting the parents. That's what I say.
Yeah, and they got one up here in Maryland outside the National Harbor. They have because too many free range kids, and a lot of times, parents don't take, and like I said, this is the L we got to hold. A lot of parents didn't raise their kids, they brought them up, and there's a difference.
They were drug up.
Yeah. So
they were raised, they were drug up. It's like it's like you look at them, these young, like, it just brings me joy to see little children being little children, not small adults.
Yeah, you talking about looking like Sexy Red and Lil Durk.
There's in there,
and the way they talk. I mean, my parents were born in 49 and 54.
Oh yeah. Now you got to imagine we're both a little we're a little older, being we're all over 50. Yeah. Oh no, trust me. I was talking about this the other day. You did not say to your parents, "Huh? What?" Say that. Say that. Say that.
I mean, you heard exactly what I said. You had to say yes.
Yes, no, yes, but we, and we like out of my siblings and I, we put that in our children. we put that in the children because it was put into us.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So
I raised my children a little differently. Like, I had 2 millennials and 1 Gen Xer, and she's a hellion.
You mean Gen Z?
And I didn't have any teenage pregnancies with my 3, and no, thank God, 2 males, no jail time. I was a little more lenient than I was raised.
Yeah.
But that works too. You know, I think I was tougher on the boys than I was on my girl. But they all had this standard, like they're still chivalrous. They'll open the door for a lady. They'll give up their on the subway or on the bus. I instilled that in them early.
Yeah.
To help someone with dads, things like that. So the parents out there, Gen Zers, we did do it, and I'm one of them.
Yeah.
My daughter, she'll be 29 in September. She doesn't have any children. She doesn't want any children. My son is almost 21. He doesn't have any children. I don't know if he wants them or not. I don't even want to think about it. Yeah.
You look amazing.
Oh my goodness, thank you. But I mean, it's just you have to. I mean, I saw my environment, and I didn't want my children to be products of the environment. So I instill different things in them.
Right. And that's what you have to do.
You still took the time to instill those into them. This new generation is not taking the time to instill them with responsibilities and knowing when to do something, when not to do it. They just, baby them into adulthood, and now these adults don't know what to do, and then they're so sensitive. The parents are so much trying to make that bag
and be their friend.
But at 18, they were supposed to know how to be adults, and I can't. That bothers me. I've heard people saying as soon as their child turned 18, they toss them out, or now you got to start paying rent. But you didn't show them anything about money management. You didn't show them anything about responsibility. You haven't taught them anything about credit. And now you just expect them to just instantly on their 18th birthday wake up with all this knowledge.
I drove to Florida on the day of my graduation, and I lived with, my parents were divorced when I was young, but I lived with my dad for like half a year, but that's it. And then I learned waitressing, and I've been able to really support myself really well on it. And I've moved around to different states, and
Lindsay, I want to let you know that you're welcome. It doesn't matter the subject matter, whether you feel like you have a voice. You do. You'll always have a voice on the show. You know, it doesn't matter if you.
I just wondered if you two ladies have like a TikTok account that I could follow, that he could maybe put on the TikTok feed.
They don't even follow me, so.
Unfortunately, I do not have TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm scared I'm going to get addicted.
But I'm not active.
It is addictive. Just stay off of the TikTok shop. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm scared I'm going to be addicted. So I don't even have my fiance, he took his down. So only TikTok I see is they happen to come on Facebook. I'm still old school. I'm one of them old people that stay on Facebook. I do have an Instagram, but I very seldom get onto that. So,
the only thing I bought from TikTok shop was that back massager. I got it shipped for $12. It is the best thing you can ever get.
Oh, I got it.
I need a hey, could y'all DM me that link? Cause I need that bad.
Oh,
But ladies,
I got a fiance. I don't need it.
hey,
No one likes a bragger.
tell me about it. Tell me about it. But y'all ladies, I appreciate y'all come back. Like I said, we here every Tuesday. You never know what we're gonna talk about. Sometimes we just make it up on the fly. But it's always I'm gonna close out with my favorite saying: never make love by the garden gate, though love is blind, the neighbors ain't. Y'all have a great evening.
You too. Good night, everybody.
All right, see you next week.
Make love by the garden gate,
Next week.
though love is blind, the neighbors ain't.